and gentlemen, welcome back to Krones. Thank you for joining us, for sticking around. Now, while the last of you just find their seats, we do still have a few available, if you like. And this is going to pay off, I can tell you that much, because we are now about to welcome back on stage on this Sustainability Day one of our most valued, most esteemed partners. Welcome. Thank you for joining us. So we are about, with that said, to set off on a customer journey. And it's always a real treat for us to hear what the customers actually have to say, because they like to speak very openly and very frankly, which we greatly appreciate here at Krones. All right, and with that said, everyone joining us online, thank you for tuning in. We're coming to you live and direct here from Krones booth at drinktec 2025. So next up, everyone, we have Endres and Hauser coming on stage, but who exactly is our speaker to do the deed? He is a seasoned executive with over 35 years of experience at Endres and Hauser, where he has held key leadership positions in sales, marketing, and innovation. From 2006 to 2013, he served as managing director of Endres and Hauser in Germany here. He joined the group's executive board back in 2009, and from 2014 to 2023, he was then appointed CEO of the Endres and Hauser Group in Switzerland. Since 2024, he serves as president of the supervisory board. So needless to say, we're grateful that he had time to speak here to us today. Believe it or not, here comes a fun fact. As full as this man's agenda seems to be, he even manages to find time to run his own consulting firm called Bionic Leadership. And he lectures at university on the side and even manages his own forestry business. Incredible. We're about to find out more. Please welcome him as he tells us what can the beverage industry learn from other industries. Here he comes, Matthias Altendorf. The stage is yours.
Thank you very much for the introduction. A warm welcome from my side here at the Krones booth at the drinktec. It's a pleasure to be here, and I would like to share with you a little bit about how we try to help with measurement technology our customers to be more environmentally friendly. What I've brought with me today is who's Endres and Hauser, that you get a little bit better understanding. How do we deal with this ESG topic in general, what we do in-house, what we do with our partners, and also what we do in applications which you can use and apply in your own businesses. But before I start, I always would like to share with you a little bit what CO2 really means. I came yesterday evening with an airplane from Basel, and you might know, okay, how much carbon footprint does an air flight from Basel, which is around 45 minutes, generates? And you can see here, I'm a tree hugger. I love trees. I have my own forest, so I know pretty much how much carbon footprint I burned when I go from Basel to Munich airport. Very simple. When you take a flight from Basel to Munich, depending on the airplane, you generate roughly 200 kilograms of CO2. And just to give you an amount, 200 kilograms of CO2 means a tree has to grow for 40 years. That's roughly the number. And that's what you can take home when you see it. 10 years of a tree is roughly 100 kilograms of CO2 consumed. And depending on the tree, of course, and depending on the airplane. But this just as a side note. Endres and Hauser is a family-owned business out of Switzerland. We are born in 1953, and as you can see here, sustainability for us is quite important because we have multi-generations. We are now in the third and fourth generation of ownership, and as a family business, we don't think in the quarters, we have to think in generations, and therefore sustainability is always on our mind, and it's in the heart and DNA of what we do, because we believe in long-term stability and in long-term growth in a healthy fashion. It's not just a concept, it's deeply embedded in our corporate culture. As you can see here, the Endres and Hauser Group is quite successful since many, many years. And we grew with this sustainability thoughts always all the way along and have been quite successful. We use technology to remain sustainable, and we use the culture of our 18,000 employees worldwide in order to do that. We even have it in our brand portfolio because Anderson Hauser has sustainability as one of our main brand issues, and we have this since more than 20 years in our corporate profile, because we believe we should not just live in today's world, we also have to make sure that the future world is taken care of. And besides that, we try to do this with a strong commitment and with an excellent behavior, and always with a smile on our face. But before I go to the different scopes of CO2, I start with the scope 1, 2, and 3. We have a very powerful lever when we use instrumentation, and I give you a very good example. Today in the measurement control world, we talk about 2-wire devices and we talk about 4-wire devices. And we can offer both. Both have advantages and disadvantages. But basically 97% of our material which we have as a carbon footprint is the material of the products or is the usage of the product. Only 3% we really can influence on the other side. So when we talk to the 97% of the products used, one of it is the energy consumption. And a 2-wire device, basically over 15 years, needs 0.05 kilograms CO2, not a lot. But a 4-wire device, for example, already needs 2.3 kilogram, and therefore you can 2.3 years of a tree of carbon footprint. So therefore, energy consumption of our products to the minimum is one of our strengths and where we are very good in, and that's one element. Besides that, I show you the application examples, how we can help our customers to reduce the carbon footprint in manufacturing. Give you the example here of precise measurement. You can save energy, raw materials, and cost. And here you see a temperature measurement, which basically alone can save 4,000 euros a year, just because it's more precise, or which is self-calibrating. It's one of those examples. Temperature measurement is something very important for ultra heat treatment in order to save cost, as one example. Another example is when you have the CIP process in the food and beverage industry, quite important, takes a lot of energy, detergents as well as cleaning and water. And when you use here the different products of Anderson Hauser, and you can reduce the cycle time by 15 minutes, we can save in the CIP process, shorten 15 minutes. We are able to do that with our customers. Then we save a lot of water over the day, a lot of water over the year. But most important, we can produce much more bottles which go to the customer and create therefore a much higher revenue. And in such a case, for a normal drinking plant manufacturer, we can save up to €500 million a year, which becomes very beneficial. When you look to the energy you have to produce, then a lot of people still use legacy type home ventilation, air conditioning measurement in order to make a good energy measurement. But today, if you use process equipment, you become much more precise. You can measure the variety, the dynamics much better. You can save up to 5 to 10% in the consumption of energy. And we have proven this concept in all our factories. Really, we changed them all over. 19 factories, and we can really say it works. And a lot of our food customers do meanwhile the same, because precision helps you to be more precise in controlling the process. You can only optimize what you can measure. As better you measure, as better you can optimize. Heat exchangers, we have quite a lot in the food industries, and it depends a little bit what you use. Traditionally, people use pressure transmitters to measure the flow of heat exchangers, but maybe you can even know for the condensed water ultrasonic flow meters or vortex flow meters, and that helps you to save 10% of the liquid water over the year, or it helps you to be more accurate, and at the end of the day we can calculate 10,000 euros for a simple heat exchanger over the year, and the return on investment is less than 6 months normally in this time frame. But it's not just enough to say, okay, how can I adjust the processes? Of course, a lot of our customers also use stainless steel, and they have produced stainless steel. So we help our customers to produce green steel. in order to use hydrogen to replace coke. And the aim is basically to reduce the carbon footprint by 95%. And all around the world we are active in those projects because we would benefit as well to reduce the stainless steel carbon footprint significantly. And this is also our intention, that over the years to come, reduce the carbon footprint through stainless steel. In those type of equipments, you need a lot of hydrogen, you need a lot of electrolyzers, and they also need to be controlled and measured, and therefore we help the customer to do that. But hydrolyzers also need water, and we are experts in water measurement to do that. When it comes to green hydrogen, iron and steel, you can see here the Stegro plant in Boden in Sweden, where the people also want to produce those things, and we are very actively in also helping our customers to produce those CO2 neutral steel, which later on we all can absorb and can use and recycle again, and therefore it becomes a much better thing. It's much easier for us today in the aluminum and steel world to use recycled material in Europe. Up to 70% or 80%, aluminum up to 90% is already recycled. We are not at that level when we look to the Asian markets because the recycling rate is not as high at that point. When it comes to the hydrogen, we help our customers to measure those hydrogens to reduce the energy. You have to produce hydrogen. This is something completely different, and you can reduce it or produce it on the spot. You have to make sure the hydrogen has the right quality in order to use it. And also you have to make sure you transport it and measure the values. And you have to make sure that the composition of the hydrogen also works in a quite good way. So it goes from transportation to logistics to quality measurements of the hydrogen, which people then use to create energy or to create chemicals out of it, is well needed. And this also helps the customer to save a lot of energy. But sometimes the process doesn't allow you to use alternative energies, therefore you have to capture. And therefore you have to capture the carbon footprint, and they capture basically the CO2. You see here the Stockholm Energy, it's a Swedish energy, a leading Swedish energy provider, and they liquefy the carbon footprint and later on store it underground. And here we help on two sides. On one hand side that they can use bio energy in order to use it. On the other hand, we capture the carbon footprint with the measurement and therefore reduce the carbon footprint of the energy they provide to their customers. Then you have a simple application of energy management at the DMK Group. Here they have a dry spraying process, which is quite often used to make solids food at the end of the day. Here you can see a new boiler house with the new condensation water and the central energy system. And here we are also able to help the customer to reduce significantly the spray drying process and to generate the energy in a much more efficient way. And this has helped us, this customer, also to become much more sustainable. But then we also have the buildings, what you can see here. This is, for example, in Switzerland, an arena, and a lot of our manufacturing facilities look pretty much the same, or office buildings. We're using here, in this case, ammonia for the cooling process, and therefore you need much more precise data to make the energy efficiency ratio. And Anderson House provided here also the compact high-accuracy packages in order to flow pressure and temperature in order to make this calculation. Again, going from home ventilation, air condition instrumentation to process instrumentation helps you to bring down the carbon footprint and to save a lot of energy by just starting to measure in a precise way. Sometimes we don't want to store the CO2. Sometimes CO2 is quite vital for the process. Then we use it for feedstock and breweries, help the customer to capture it, to store it. And then when the customer brews something, we try to bring it back into the process in the way that this brewing process becomes more efficient. And of course, it's much better if we drink the CO2 than we just leave it to the air. In this space of reuse, you can see here a lot of biogas applications meanwhile. because customers try to capture the biogas. This is an application out of Italy, where the people capture the biogas and they control it in the way, bring it to the high quality, make sure that the CO2, the HS2 and the water vapor is in the right quality, and later on it gets to the gas grid of Italy, and then the people use it later on, and therefore we reduce significantly the carbon footprint, because methane is a much higher polluter than the CO2 itself. And here is one of the examples where I think you see circularity or circular industry, how process automation can help to become better in the circular industry. Water is one of the biggest carriers of energy and the biggest carrier of things used. And you can see here sustainable water waste management at a company called Wernesing. They make potatoes or use potatoes as the products. And we also help the customer to produce 500,000 tons of potatoes annually, and that needs a lot of water. So how can we find out a way to reuse the water by advanced monitoring, multi-step treatment by filtering, balancing, anaerobic and secondary treatment? But we also help them, the customer, then to reduce 20% of the water consumption over 1 year, which is quite significant. And this, of course, means less pumping cost, less water cost, and makes the whole plant more efficient at the end of the day. I come to the end in the summary, basically. Sustainability is a true business advantage. We believe in that. And we can really use it, and we have proven that measurement can help really to make the customers better and more competitive in this area. It's driving this in the right direction, and also I think the next step will be much more circular economy things where we can help them. Efficiency always starts with measurement. So as better we measure, as better we can control, as better we can improve. You cannot control what you can't measure. This is a saying originally from Lord Kelvin, and it's still true today, and we try to practice that all the time. Our measurement makes data available, then we have to make it visible, and then we can allow ourselves to make the process more efficient and sustainable, measurable and manageable at the end of the day. But important is we cannot do this on ourselves. We need partnership, and need strong partnership to key to the net zero. And we believe in this partnership, collaborating with our customers and our suppliers in order to come to that point, whether it's the dairy, soft drink production, steel manufacturing or energy transition. Together with our customers we can create solutions that cut carbon emissions, save resources and deliver real business value. Sustainability is a journey. It has started many moons ago, and I'm pretty sure it will be besides us many years into the future. But I think we should use this opportunity wherever we can to get more competitiveness. At the same time, we get also more sustainable. We at Anderson Hauser try to combine sustainability with efficiency for better processes, lower emissions, and stronger competitiveness. And with this, I would like to close and thank you very much all for listening. And I wish you all the best for your sustainability journey and your goal of net zero. Thank you very much.